nearly 1,000 kilometers. 3 days of journey through the curvy forest roads of the eastern Ghats, in the middle of heavy monsoon rains, as we set out to explore hidden places and waterfalls. Will we be able to reach every destination as planned? Or will the journey itself change our path? Come, let's see how our trip unfolds and witness the beautiful views of the Eastern Ghats. We thought of starting early in the morning, but as usual, things got late. It was around 10 o'clock when we finally began our trip. The village roads looked calm and peaceful, fields on both sides, and the sound of our bikes and cars cutting through the silence. Our first stop was a fuel station to fill petrol for the long drive ahead. On the way, I was waiting for a friend to join us. By the time we reached Penugonda, we had a quick breakfast, bought some snacks, and continued the journey. As today is Independence Day, we could see people gathering for flag hoisting along the way. We continued our journey on NH16, passing through Rajahmundry and Annavaram. Our plan is to eat bucket biryani in Narsipatnam and then head to Lambasingi, Paderu, Tarabu Waterfalls, and finally Araku. A short journey, but filled with adventure and memories. By afternoon, we finally reached Narsipatnam and decided to stop for lunch at a restaurant suggested by one of my friends. Once we finished lunch, we started again, this time towards Lambasingi, which is just 30 kilometers from Narsipatnam, and the road ahead was waiting to surprise us. We continued our journey through the mountains, surrounded by vast landscapes. Lambasingi stands at 1,000 meters above sea level, also known as the Kashmir of Andhra, Pradesh. On the way, we saw some local tribals playing cricket. We stopped, joined them for a while, and enjoyed the game in the middle of these endless landscapes. After that short break, we continued the journey towards Paderu, enjoying the beautiful views along the way. Since new highway construction was going on, we had to take a small detour to avoid the rough off-road stretch. I could see many old buildings being cleared for the road extension. The views were truly spectacular. Every turn on the road made us feel so fresh and alive. Each site looked like a painting, especially in this rainy season. After about 2 hours of driving, we finally reached Paderu. We searched for hotels around the town and booked a room for one night. For dinner, we kept it light, and later walked through the streets of Paderu in the light drizzle of rain, before finally calling it a night. We had a great sleep for almost 7 hours. The next morning, at 6 o'clock, we started towards Vanajangi viewpoint, which is 5 kilometers from the town. We drove in our own vehicle until the base of the hill. From there, we had to take a local jeep to reach the top, around 2 kilometers. And after that, trek another 650 meters. You can also choose to walk the entire way. But since the jeep was available and because it was raining slowly, we decided to take the jeep for the experience. The cost was 100 rupees per person to go up, and another 100 to come back down. From here, we need to trek 650 meters to reach the cloud viewpoint.
ఎంజాయ్కి అయితే టెంట్లు ఇస్తూ ఉంటాను, మీ ఇష్టం అక్కడ వేసి ఇస్తాను. ఫుల్ తెల్లవారు దాకా ఎంజాయ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, డ్యాన్సులు వేసుకోవచ్చు. అన్ని నేను మీరు చికెన్ తెచ్చుకొని కబాబ్ తయారు చేసుకోవచ్చు, అన్ని తయారు చేసుకోవాలి. ఇక్కడ అయితే ఏం దొరకతుంది, ఒక కాఫీ తప్ప ఏం దొరకదు. వైట్ రైస్ అయితే దొరుకుతుంది, బిర్యానీ దొరుకుతుంది. మేము తినే వైట్ అన్నాము, రాగంబాలు అలాంటివి అయితే.
The trek itself was not difficult, not too steep. Almost anyone can do it.
No worries, Abbo.
On the way, we even saw families trekking with small babies. Once we reached the top, the views were spectacular. The clouds slowly began to clear, opening up the valley. Since we came during the monsoon, the views lasted only until around 7:30 in the morning. But in winter, between November and February, the clouds stay until 11 a.m. And it feels like all the clouds are floating below your feet. After spending some time there, we came back down using the same geo. We returned to the hotel, had breakfast, and filled the fuel tank. It was time for our next adventure. Tarabu Waterfalls, hidden deep in the eastern Ghats, right on the Odisha border. With a mighty plunge of nearly 250 feet, this waterfall is sassy as one of the most breathtaking sights of the region. A long drive through winding mountain roads, surrounded by clouds and endless valleys. Tarabu is not just a waterfall. It is a reminder of the raw, untouched beauty of nature, a hidden gem waiting to be explored in the heart of the eastern Ghats. Tarabu Waterfalls is about 70 kilometers from Paderu town, right on the Odisha border. The journey towards the falls was amazing. with spectacular views and endless greenery all around in this rainy season. It reminded me of Meghalaya. To reach Tarabu Waterfalls from Paderu, there are two possible routes. One is better suited for bikes and the other is better for cars. First, you need to reach Bosipatu Junction. The drive itself is beautiful, with stunning views along the way. From the junction, if you take a left turn and drive for about 3 kilometers, you will reach the parking area of the waterfalls. But this entire stretch is completely off-road. The other way is recommended if you are traveling by car. From Butsepatu Junction, drive 4 kilometers towards the Odisha border. Right next to the bridge, take a left turn. This road lies inside Odisha. From here, continue for 5 kilometers and you will reach the Tarabu waterfall viewpoint. But no matter which vehicle you choose, during the monsoon season, it is not easy. The roads become muddy, slippery, and sometimes even walking becomes difficult. When we reached the place, it was already 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We hadn't eaten anything since morning, and there was no food available anywhere nearby. Walking 3 kilometers through the mud and another 3 kilometers back was not something we were ready for that day. So we decided to give up this time and plan better for the next trip. Maybe bring our own food, or prepare something on the way from Paderu or Sileru. As we flew our drone, the mountains opened up before us. Spectacular views stretching as far as the eye could see. As clouds hugged the mountains, breathing in the fresh air surrounded by clouds and forests, we could truly feel the raw and untouched vibes of this land, just like a local living close to nature. We continued our journey towards Araku. It was around 60 kilometers from here through the Odisha route. The views along the way were still spectacular, and after 3 hours of driving, we finally reached Araku. Since we hadn't booked any stay in advance, we had to search for a hotel after reaching. Later that night, we went for a walk through the streets of Araku, tried some local food, had dinner, and took rest for the day. The next morning, we had no fixed plans, but our hotel receptionist suggested us to visit the Madagada sunrise viewpoint, which is about 10 kilometers from Araku, a short 20-minute drive. We faced a strange little adventure. One of my friends accidentally left the car keys inside the vehicle and locked it. Since this was not a remote push-start car, the doors stayed locked tight. I'll tell you what happened in a bit. Finally, we reached the hilltop. All vehicles can directly go up here. There's no trekking needed. At the top, we saw some traditional dances being performed in colorful attire. Since it was the off-season, there weren't many tourists around. A few fun games were set up nearby, and it looked like some local boys had spent the night here, as broken glass bottles lay scattered. If you want, you can also try pottery here. It costs about 100 rupees. There were a few food stalls available, serving breakfast and of course Maggi noodles. The views were amazing, but honestly, Vanajangi still felt much better than this viewpoint. Maybe it looks different in the winter. And about that key incident, luckily I had carried a spare key with me. So my friend went back to the hotel to bring it. Maybe it was just fate that I carried the extra key this time. A small tip: if your car doesn't have a smart key system, it's always better to carry a spare key during long trips. After that, we returned to the hotel, got ready, checked out, and continued our journey towards Chaparai Waterfalls. We stopped here to have lunch and then planned to visit Bora Caves before beginning our return journey home. This place is known for the tribal Sunday market, a colorful glimpse into the life and culture of the locals. On the way to Bora Caves, we paused for a moment near a small wooden bridge. The scenery around us was calm, and we entered through coffee plantations. At first, there was no sign of rain. But within 5 minutes, the sky changed. And it began to pour heavily. Rain that continued non-stop for the next 6 hours. We rushed back to the car and drove towards Bora Caves. But as the rain kept pouring, tourists were not allowed to go inside. With no other choice left, we decided to start our return journey. The drive back was slow. Water had collected heavily on the roads, visibility was low, and the sound of rain stayed with us all the way. And that marked the end of our trip. Thank you for following this journey till the end. If you enjoyed this raw travel experience, please like and share it with your family and friends. And don't forget to subscribe to Raw Postcard. See you on the next adventure.